Santa Monica has to regulate the airport, but it's really a regional problem. And it seems to me that both the federal government, and the real reason I stepped forward to speak tonight is because, if I heard correctly, we have at least staff members from 2 federal legislative offices here, and it's to those people that I think some of these questions really need to be posed, and unfortunately we don't have their attendance and their attention at many of our monthly meetings, and so this is a forum where maybe they can hear us more clearly. And I guess the one thing that I would comment to people also is that the jet traffic increase, as I think Mr. Jarrett correctly pointed out, coincides or at least correlates with the change in the rules with regard to fractional ownership of jets, and that's a subject that needs to be delved into, and maybe in a future panel we can have a different panel of experts to explore the other aspects of that increase in traffic. And finally, the last thing is that right now the City of Santa Monica has approached the FAA and is in negotiations with the FAA with respect to an aircraft conformance program and runway safety zones that would restrict the size of the aircraft that are operating at the City of Santa Monica. And periodically, the Commission and the neighborhood groups and other interested parties put out calls for members of the public to join in letter writing campaigns and other methods to make the public and the federal government especially more aware of the concerns of the people here before a tragedy occurs. You know, too often the federal government acts retroactively. They're not a very proactive organization. And so to the degree that people here want to get involved, I encourage them to contact their local federal representatives and demand immediate action with respect to the aircraft conformance program and the runway safety zones. So that's about it. I really do invite all of you to attend our meetings. Sadly, the monthly Airport Commission meetings are very sparsely attended, which doesn't help in making the case that this is a cause that concerns the citizens and the local residents, and it's difficult to get people to take you seriously with your problems if you're not vocal about your concerns.
Okay, well, we appreciate this. How long have you been on the commission?
Maybe 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. As you're seeing the experience here tonight in this town hall meeting, and you see the experts there, and we're going to get them to respond to your questions, it's obvious to you, obviously, and to everybody here in the room, that in the last half a dozen years or so, if not longer, some have said since 1992, the number of jet takeoffs and landings has increased, and dramatically in the last 3 or 4 years. You've also heard from absolutely everybody, more or less, who's somewhat within the flight pattern or on the east side of the airport especially, that there's an incredible amount of degradation, health issues, not just themselves, but their property, their plants, and everything else from the jet fuel. You've also heard many say that the idling jet and the way the suction of the westerlies go, that truly it is a significant health issue. Do you agree that the AQMD, coming in with their monitors, will help us understand you've even heard dramatic testimony from some people saying there's no doubt that this is a serious issue. Historically, the airport was a propeller airport, then it became a jet airport, now a significant jet airport. Do you feel, as the Commission in Santa Monica, any ability to regulate the number of jets that come in and how to regulate them in a monitoring sense about all these pollution? I mean, what is your sense? You don't have to fill your meetings with the people that were here. They were here tonight to clearly say there's big issues. How do you feel, what can we do to get rid of the jets or limit the amount of jets and or do something about the incredible pollutants that they're putting in people's face? It's not a hearsay story here. We've had real legitimate testimony from people saying that these jets are causing significant health issues. Help me with that.
Well, I think the problem is, and unfortunately, and I got involved, I also live near the airport. In fact, I think at this point almost everyone on the Commission is an immediate resident near the airport, which is why people get involved in this issue to begin with. And when I got involved, I had high hopes for what could be accomplished in the short term, especially with a little bit of, effort and enthusiasm. The problem is, I think that it is a heavily federally preempted area, which I'm hoping your panel will help address and help me understand, because again, I rely mostly on city staff for my legal advice and information, and so perhaps this panel will have a different perspective. I think that under the FAA, the FAA regulations pretty much sit over the entire area of aviation operations. That's why when I heard that there were federal, representatives from federal offices, that's what prompted me to speak here tonight, because this is a rare opportunity that I get to speak. And again, this is through proxies, but I'm sure that they will, faithfully carry out their duties and transmit our messages to, their employers. The point is that I think that really the pressure in this area has to come from cooperation between and among the local communities and city governments, especially through the use of their lobbyists and other resources they can bring to bear some pressure on the federal government to understand what the citizens, the local residents, are experiencing. We have a unique situation with the Santa Monica Airport. The problem is that we similarly have a unique situation in the greater Los Angeles area of extremely heavy jet traffic. The public there's a demand for this. The flying public wants more flights, and they're voting with their wallets. They're buying more tickets. They're filling up more, more commercial aircraft, and also fractionally owned and private aircraft. And so the idea is you've got two competing interests, and unfortunately, because of the unique geography of the Santa Monica Airport, the operations at this particular airport disproportionately, and I would say unfairly, impact the immediate residents surrounding it. From a federal perspective, they don't see it that way. They've got competing concerns that they're looking at, and so it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get their attention and to make them recognize the unique circumstances of our airport and why this particular airport should be why we should be allowed to restrict the operations at this airport more than other airports can restrict their operations. This is a unique circumstance, and while clearly the public has an interest in flying in aircraft operations, here there are unique circumstances that warrant unique regulations and restrictions. But it's a very difficult message to convey.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and we're going to convey it. You have Henry Waxman, Jane Harmon, and Maxine Waters are the three physically in the area here. Right. And the three of them will engage themselves. I know all three care about safety issues, and I think they'll get the backup material from the study when it starts in April that gives them the scientific, plus they have the witnesses here today. It's outrageous that in the last 10 years, a bedroom community of West Los Angeles, including Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and West LA, and all the parts of it, have found themselves in a very threatened situation by the intensity of the amount of jets that have come in to this little airport in the middle of the West Side to such a degree that people's health are in jeopardy. We'll get it confirmed, I'm sure, but the anecdotal stories of the witnesses here certainly suggest that there's huge concerns about the fumes. And I'm certainly, as a councilman who's concerned about the health of his constituents, not going to sit by and let it continue. And I will do.
Well, I applaud you for attending this this town hall meeting, and I certainly appreciate your enthusiasm and attention to the problem.
Yep.
And I just have a question for you myself.
Sure.
Have you? I've received a copy of a press release that's been circulated by the Friends of Sunset Park Neighborhood Group with regard to the aircraft conformance program. I don't know if you've received a copy.
No.
I will ask someone to forward you a copy of that. Mm-hmm. It's a full press release. And I know that group is seeking media attention for the fight that Santa Monica is having with the FAA with respect to that aircraft conformance program to restrict the size of the jets that are arriving
Well,
at the
I'll
aircraft.
certainly join with them.
And I would appreciate, I think they would appreciate any help you
We
could get
certainly will
immediate
join
attention
with
for
them,
that.
and frankly, it's time that Santa Monica and LA